What's up, everybody? Welcome to We Have Spoken, the final episode of this season where we cover The Mandalorian here, the new Star Wars show from Disney+. I'm Josiah Leroy. With me today, Tom Colbert. Did I pick you out there?
Switched it up a little bit.
No.
I was startled.
Tom was shaken to the core. Also, Jamie Leroy.
That's me.
Hi.
Hey.
So, we just wrapped up the entire season of The Mandalorian here. Season 1. We're going to discuss it in minute detail. If you want to get into a specific episode discussion, we've got 5 previous episodes that you can check out on YouTube and Apple Podcasts and SoundCloud. This one is going to serve as a little bit of a spoiler cast. Of course, if you haven't seen if there's a part of the season you haven't seen yet and you're worried about it being spoiled, bookmark this, come back to it, listen to it, watch it later on. We'll get to just a few things here, a little bit of a condensed episode. But first off, what was our favorite episode of the season 1 here? We're getting season 2 really not that far away. Fall 2020, Jon Favreau confirmed today, which is super, super exciting. Tweeted out the artist rendering of the Gamorrean guard. Or Gamorrean. We don't know if he's a guard.
Yeah.
So that is coming very soon, and we're excited about that. But here today, what was your favorite for season 1? Jamie, why don't you start us off?
Okay. It's really hard to pick because I really liked a lot of them. But if I had to choose, I'd say it was Chapter 6, The Prisoner. This is the one where he had the Mandalorian had to team up with this old crew that he used to know to try to free the Twi'lek's brother. I don't remember what her name was. I can look her up, though.
That's okay. No, we all know.
I don't think I can pronounce it. It's X-I'-A-N. Shien, maybe?
Yep.
So they were trying to free her brother from prison, and everything kept going wrong. Everyone was turning on each other, but he continually outsmarts everybody the whole time, and I love that.
So I am glad you brought this up. We didn't do a podcast for this one. We had a kind of a crazy schedule for the month of December. But that episode, I liked that it was contained in the ship. It was a New Republic ship, right?
Yes.
We saw a lot of really nice cameos in that, including Matt Lanter, and we'll get on to the cameos later in this episode. So if you want to know who was in this, we'll break that down for you. And it was nice to see Mando kind of like outsmart that group, as we mentioned.
Yeah.
To have to use the different tactics to get where he had to get. It was more of a contained episode because they were on that central location as opposed to out on a planet somewhere. So that was a little bit different.
Yeah. It had me on edge the whole time because he kept having to close different doors on the ship and try to trap them against each other so they couldn't work together against him. It was a lot.
Not to mention the creepy Twi'leks. Like, they were just over the top creepy.
They really were, yeah.
They're not all like that. It was a weird interpretation of them. They're just, there's like, these two are specifically scum, right?
Right,
Because we've got Syndulla in Rebels, who's just awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the man who had the horns, I don't know what type of creature he was, but he was scary.
Yeah,
he was incredibly strong.
He wasn't Devorian. He was something else.
No, I think that was it.
Devorian?
I think, yeah.
Okay.
I believe they named him that.
Interesting.
It was interesting. Tom, what was your favorite episode of season 1?
I'm with Jamie. I liked a lot of them. I think a lot of them each had their own little niche that kind of spoke out as its own individual episode, which kind of gave a nod to each director that kind of took it over and wanted to try different things with this. I keep going back to the episode where we first meet Cara Dune.
Episode 3.
Episode 3, he goes to the planet. He tries to, find a place to hide out low-key, and he ends up, A, meeting Cara Dune, and then, B, getting wrapped up in this little village who welcomes him with open arms and is trying to, he's welcome to stay there, basically, but he has to stop these raiders from attacking them. It's a very, old-school Western/samurai kind of, episode. I just really love the whole thing, everything about it. Especially the ATSD coming out of the woods and them kind of building the trenches against it. There were so many things in that episode which I loved. And it was a slower episode, but there was just a lot happening, which I absolutely enjoyed. So,
I did like that one too. That was definitely different.
It was. Sorry to interrupt. It was chapter 4.
Chapter 4.
I only know because I'm looking at the computer.
So Bryce Dallas Howard was in charge of that episode. I thought it was good. It was different from anything we saw for the rest of the season. more contained. There was more personal stuff. It was nice seeing Baby Yoda just be a kid, right, around all the other kids.
Oh, yeah.
Nice callback to the chicken walker, as you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
That was really cool. And seeing kind of the tactical strategy of Kara.
Yeah.
And we got a little bit of an
Background.
introduction on her.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one. I'm happy you brought that up. I am torn as well. I think there was a nice consistency throughout the season in terms of quality. I didn't think there was any episode that was really behind or that really stood above the rest a ton. I really enjoyed Chapter 7, which was The Reckoning, which we hadn't really talked about too much because that was such a nice lead-in into this final episode, which was Chapter 8. However, I am actually going to go back to the beginning with Chapter 1. I love the first episode. It was a lot like the way I felt when I saw Force Awakens. It was like Star Wars is back in this new form. It's got a new leadership group that's running things here. It was just super exciting. Disney Plus was such a big deal. It still is a big deal. It's not even 2 months old yet. And it was a lot of fun to come home from work, watch that, and then watch it again right away afterwards to see what the quality was going to be like, knowing that we had a $15 million budget per episode. All of that played into it. And, of course, at the end, we get not only a really awesome shootout with The Mandalorian and IG-11, we see Baby Yoda for the first time. So yeah. I loved all of it. We got a nice amount of time with Grief Karga. We've got the Bounty Hunters Guild being established. I thought it was a perfect setup that explained a lot, but also set a really nice tone.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go right back to Chapter 1, as mentioned. Moving on here, actually, from you, the listener, we want to hear what your favorite episode was. Be sure to leave a comment below or visit us at facebook.com/thegeekiverse. Favorite characters. You're not allowed to mention Baby Yoda because I feel like that's just an easy pick and we'd all be there along with the rest of the internet, which is fine and valid. But favorite non-Baby Yoda character, if you had to pick one, who would you pick?
Can we choose the Mandalorian?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah.
That just seems like unfair, but okay. That's who I choose.
So Mandalorian, played by Pedro Pascal, incredible personality despite almost never seeing his face. I love his character and his values, and he's always out for himself. He does want to get to the next level, so to say, of his armor and his training and everything, but he is very considerate of other people too. Like he loves this child. He wants to protect it. He wants to keep it away from harm. And he also seems like he always wants to help other people too. So those people in the village in Chapter 4, they were helpless without him and Kara. Yep. So he stuck around and helped them. She didn't want to at first, but he convinced her. I just feel like he has so many like components to his character. He's really deep. And he's supposed to be this tough badass, and he is, but he's got a heart at the core of it, right? Mm-hmm. Otherwise, he would have abandoned Baby Yoda as well.
Right.
So their relationship is amazing to see play out. Tom, who would you list as your favorite character? And you can overlap. You can say Mandalorian.
I mean, obviously, Baby Yoda. I'll say it anyway. So obviously, the child. I do like the Mandalorian's character in this. There's something unique about this supporting cast, though. Even the ones that we only see, once in the episode, like the girl who watched the child on Tatooine.
Yeah,
Amy Sedaris, yeah.
Yes. So
there's nice depth there for all the side characters.
The support cast just pushes the story forward. It really builds our main characters, being the child and the Mandalorian. Joe, I know who your character is going to be, so I'm going to have to say I really like Grief Karga in this. I really like that.
Grief Karga.
I like the mercenary feel that we get from Carl Weathers and just the role he's playing in this, where he's just out for himself. He's just trying to make money and trying to make a living, and he's just has this kind of like Lando feel to him.
I was just about to bring that up. Like, it was on the tip of my tongue.
I don't know. Something about him that's just every time he's on screen,
cool.
I'm listening. I'm listening to him.
Yeah.
I want to know what's going on. I want to know what his motives are. He has a heart too, but he still wants his money. It's just a lot of things going on with this character, and I hope we get to see him, going into season 2 here. So.
And he's got a radio voice.
When he talks, you listen for a number of reasons, right?
Commanding, yeah.
He's got the Calrissian kind of swagger to him, where he's got that Billy D voice that's very smooth and commanding, and like you said, he's gonna do what he's gonna do for himself, but he does have that kind of. That's what I think is awesome with all these characters. Even almost to an extent, my favorite character, who we'll get into, is that little bit of heart. That they're all mercenaries, but they still kind of do the right thing.
They still have a moral code.
Yeah.
This is not the show I thought we were gonna get. By the way, I thought this was gonna be more Western, more outlandish, more outlaw-like, but here we're kind of getting the classics, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm super happy about it. But the classic Star Wars protagonists who do the right thing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Unless that's Anakin killing younglings, because that's just awful.
He wasn't a good guy at that point.
Yeah, no.
so-
That's all right.
No.
So my favorite character, I really loved Kara in this, but IG-11 is going to be my guy, obviously. Love Taika Waititi. Wish we would have seen more of IG-11 in this season. I imagine we will get some sort of Taika back in the next season. And that's perfect. He's the perfect character that you can kill off, because you can bring him back as another
you
IG
can rebuild
droid.
him.
Yeah.
Rebuild him, repurpose him as a nurse droid,
That's
which is
true.
the funniest term I've ever heard for a droid in Star Wars.
Even something as simple as it's Star Wars. They could find his processing unit and put him in a different unit. And
Exactly.
Sure.
Personalities can be transferred between droids. So it
Like
would
Yes.
L3, right?
Yes.
Into the
so it'd be
Falcon.
very
Yes.
interesting to have a Jawa sell this to someone and then have them turn him back
Oh, yeah.
on, and then all of a sudden, he's like, "Hey, where's my baby? I
Yeah.
gotta go protect this baby."
Or he has an entirely different protocol or something.
Or a different
Yeah.
body. I mean, he could be in anything.
Sure.
So it would be interesting to see.
Yeah, that's if they
Crazy Tom's Corner.
bring his Crazy Tom's Corner, they bring his conscious into another droid.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. It'd be funny if it was a different droid altogether, not an IG droid,
Same voice, but
like a protocol droid or
yeah.
something.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
same actor doing the voice, obviously.
That would be
Yeah.
unbelievable. We'll get into here. There were a lot of cameos throughout the season here in just the 8 episodes. I imagine we're going to see even more as we get into season 2 here. But I'll kind of go through if you guys want to comment as I go along or give your quick 2 cents. First episode, we had Horatio Sanz as Mithril, which was interesting because it kind of set a weird tone for the series. Because he
Yeah.
was like
It's a comic relief.
a guy that you would imagine on a sitcom, but here he is in this kind of serious, dark tone Star Wars
Like
thing,
a
and it wasn't.
Western, yeah.
Yeah. I loved Werner Herzog as the client. I don't think that's a cameo so much, but him being kind of this old imperial warlord, and I just like his devotion to it was great.
Yeah.
One thing that really stuck out was last week's episode when he talks about how every planet that was a part of the Empire was better off, and he said, look at every possible metric. They've all improved from profitability to peace, security. I loved it.
He really believes that he's fighting for a good cause.
Right, like he drank the Kool-Aid. That was kind of his thing there. I do not know who that is. Brian Posehn as the Posen as the speeder pilot.
He's a comedian.
Comedian. Oh, I might recognize him.
I don't know who that is.
We'll look him up after this. I do recognize him. Omid Abtahi. I'm so sorry with these pronunciations. He was Dr. Pershing, so the guy who we think is maybe
Trying to clone or
clone baby Yoda.
dissect this creature.
Something. He's from Damien.
Yeah.
I don't know, so we're gonna skip there. Nick Nolte is Queel.
Again,
Nice.
not really a cameo.
No.
Yeah. If I could have a second favorite character, it would be Queel. He's so good. I love him.
At first, I was like, "Oh man, is this guy for real?" But then he grew on me really quickly.
Yeah, he sounded like he was going to be annoying, but he was like, I don't know. He was also very giving. He was like, I'll do this service for you. I don't want you to pay me. It's just the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He had a nice
I have spoken.
episode 7 where he talked about. He kind of was like, "Don't talk to me about paying my dues," kind of
Yeah.
thing, right? Like
Yeah.
because he was in servitude for such a long
Right.
time with
And
the
he
Empire.
worked his way
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. I thought that was a really nice.
Yeah.
Character
he
building
showed
moment.
some backbone and yeah.
John Favreau, of course, as Paz Vizsla. So he plays a character pre-Vizsla in the Star Wars: The Clone Wars. You'll know it as soon as you hear it if you watch The Clone Wars. So it's kind of the same clan or family.
Yeah.
House Vizsla is what it is, right?
Yeah, House Vizsla, Clan Vizsla is one of the main clans in the Clone Wars series. So I'm not sure how far away he is, but it's just a name, so we'll take it as we will.
Sure.
Julia Jones from Westworld plays Omera. So this is the woman from the 4th episode that you loved.
Yes.
From the village
Great
that kind of connects with the Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
Amy Sedaris, we talked about. She plays Peli Motto. She is the kind of junker on Tatooine who's got the pit droids and takes care of Baby Yoda for a bit. She was from Elf. That's what I most associate her with. She's also from Trainwreck, according to this IGN article.
Oh, and what is it? Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Yes. Ming-Na Wen is a big one as Fennec Shand.
Yes.
That's a character I think we all wanted more of, or maybe to see come back later on. We'll circle around to her in just a moment. But so she was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes.
Which
I watched, good portion of, and she was great in that as well. So she was Agent something. It's been a while since I watched it.
She is a huge. I did not know this. Ming-Na Wen is a huge Star Wars fan.
Mhm.
Really?
Oh, we said she was Mulan too.
Yeah,
right?
she's a Disney princess.
That's pretty awesome. Mark Boone Jr. as Ranzar, quote unquote, Ran Malk. He
was in Batman.
Yep. He's also in Sons of Anarchy, and he is the long-haired guy with the beard who puts everything together in your favorite episode.
Yes.
Also in that episode, Bill Burr as Mayfeld. That's definitely a big one.
The thing with Bill Burr, because I knew he was going to make a cameo in an episode, I didn't think he was going to have a lead role in an episode.
Oh, he was very prominent, yeah.
So him, basically being like the leader of this this mission here, I was just like, Bill Burr? Bill Burr is doing like a serious role in this movie, and I love his stand up. I love F is for Family, so I was just very shocked to see him in this, and he did a great job. So
he's perfect for that kind of role with that episode, and its kind of goofiness overall. Like it was a little eccentric, I think.
Yeah, I agree, but it's still a lot more serious than what he usually does.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
That's very true, yeah.
Jim Gaffigan's in a serious movie I just saw the other day, and he's like a main character, and I thought it was a spoof, but it's real.
No, yeah, I heard about this.
It's totally bizarre.
I heard him on a podcast, and he was talking about it, and he was like, that's not a comedy.
It's like seeing Steve Carell in serious roles, and you're like, that's Steve Carell.
Well, where's the jokes?
From The Office and from Bruce or Evan Almighty and all these movies. And you're like, he's hilarious, but he's being serious.
Yeah.
I like seeing actors
versatile.
Yeah, branch out, be a little diverse, and show that I'm not just a comedian. Or even seeing John Krasinski, I'm not just Jim Halpert. I can do other things.
Man, he's typecast to me. I in my mind, I can't get him out of my head as Jim Halpert, even in anything else I see him in.
But he's what?
Jack Ryan.
Ryan.
He is still Jim Halpert.
A Quiet Place.
I mean, there's a lot of things he's doing now, and he's great in all.
Also versatile.
He does,
yeah.
So I don't know how to pronounce this last name.
I'm gonna guess Richard Ayoade.
That might be it. From the IT crowd. So I recognized him when you showed me the picture of him.
Yeah, with the fro.
Yes. So he is the voice of Q90, aka Zero, who is in the episode we're talking about, episode 6.
Yes.
He's trying to kill the child.
I couldn't put my finger on who was voicing that character. I knew the voice though.
I liked that droid a lot though in that episode.
Yeah, me too. That was
really cool.
Definitely a good one. Clancy Brown plays Berg. He's from Highlander, and that's the Deveronian.
Yes.
Deveronian.
Yeah, good call. I couldn't remember.
Star Wars knowledge coming clutch from the last episode.
Natalia Tena as Jian, so the crazy Twilight girl that we see in that episode. She's from Game of Thrones.
And Harry Potter.
Do you want to explain who she was in Harry Potter?
She is Nymphadora Tonks in Harry Potter.
What's Harry Potter?
Oh, it is.
I'm joking.
It is
I'm joking.
Movie
it's
series.
Okay. Jamie, it's okay.
Based on a series of books. Oh, okay.
She fell
based
for
on
it.
a podcast.
Wildly popular. Sorry.
Popular series.
This was a favorite of mine. Matt Lanter as Devon. So he's the New Republic agent in episode 6, which is just laden with these cameos. He's the voice of Anakin Skywalker.
Because I read somewhere that it was like Anakin Skywalker cameo, and I was like, wait, what?
100%.
So what are you talking about?
When they said that,
yeah.
That was what was leaked to me was Anakin is in this episode.
Which one?
This
There's 3 of them.
Is who I thought. I was like, is this Hayden Christensen? So I thought Hayden Christensen was maybe playing the male Twilight.
No,
And like it kind of sounds like him, and it kind of could look like him under that makeup.
That's funny.
Yeah.
very funny.
No, I was way off. It was Matt Lanter. Dave Filoni, that was an obvious one. How cool is that? He is Trapper Wolf.
Trapper
That's a
Wolf?
great name.
That is
Crap.
cool.
So
Like that.
he's one of the 3 directors who's got a cameo. He's one of the X-Wing pilots.
Yes.
He's a genius. He did all of the Clone Wars animated series. Love him.
Yeah, he is.
Can't praise him enough.
So do you know how he met George Lucas and became part of all this?
Was he a fan?
He was a fan. He dressed up as Plo Koon, I believe. Plo Koon or Kit Fisto cosplayed at Star Wars Celebration. Met George Lucas somehow. They got to talking. I don't know the rest of it. And he was like George's second in command.
Yeah. He works.
the-
He
That's
works hand in
insane.
hand with him in a lot of things. Like,
Unbelievable.
like,
Like, he created the Clone Wars
designs,
with
everything.
George.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Like, think about that. That gives such hope and
Yeah, I
inspiration.
was gonna say it gives you hope. Yeah.
I always see him in like a cowboy hat too. and, like,
Always.
everything.
Always.
So cool.
Always love to hear what's next. His passion and enthusiasm for Star Wars is probably why the Clone Wars and Rebels
You need
were so good.
You need these people with passions in here doing these things. I mean, like Jon Favreau and these cameo actors who are like, I want to be in this. I mean, obviously for the money, but they're like, it's Star Wars. Why would I not want to be in this?
Yeah.
Like, I grew up with this. This is a big deal.
It's
So,
just unbelievable.
Yeah, the
Like,
passion level involved.
it shines through. Deborah Chow, who directed
2 episodes.
I
3?
think 2. She's going to be at the helm of the Kenobi series.
Yes.
She was one of the X-Wing pilots for the New Republic. I like that we got to see some New Republic stuff again, because we really didn't get to see a ton of that in the new trilogy because they got blown to hell. Giancarlo Esposito, again, not really a cameo, but he is who plays Moff Gideon, who we talked about last episode of We Have Spoken, how much we loved him and his presence in all this.
Right.
And then the big one was Adam Pally and Jason Sudeikis as the Scout Troopers in the final episode of the season. Sudeikis, that's a big deal.
What a funny, few minutes.
That was really good. I can't wait to watch the episode again.
Yeah.
I want to watch the whole season again now that
Well,
we can
now we can binge it.
kind
Yeah.
of
We
binge
can just
it.
go right through it.
In
true.
relatively short
It's only
order,
a couple
too.
hours. No, was it like 4 hours?
No.
Probably
Let's
not.
see.
They're like
Well, let's say they're half-hour
35
episodes.
to 45 minutes.
Yeah,
each.
probably closer to 6 hours,
6
I would
hours?
say.
That's doable.
That's really not bad. It's
Yeah.
2 movies.
Let's go.
Maybe 3. All right. It's 9:20. We can get this done, guys.
We're going to do it now.
Last thought here of the season was, who was the mysterious character that we saw kill Fennec Shand, or come upon Fennec Shand in the sands on Tatooine?
Jar Jar.
I didn't even consider him.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Jar Jar as a bounty hunter.
Warlord Jar Jar,
What,
yes.
what we saw and what we heard.
Crazy Tom's Corner.
We see we see what we presume is the dead body of
Fennec.
Fennec, who was the sniper on the ridge in that whole episode. And then at kind of like the end of the episode, we see her body laying there, and then we just hear the footsteps come up, and we see like the knees down, maybe the waist down of a character in what I took as Mandalorian armor as well. So obviously, the first thought that I want it to be, and what I'm sure Joe wants it to be, and Jamie, you want to jump into with this?
Yeah, sure.
All right, Jamie's in too.
She's like, no.
We all would want it to be Boba Fett, but I think what would be very interesting would be if we could see a rival Mandalorian that he can face off against.
Mhm.
I think that everyone needs that arch nemesis, and in this case, I don't think the Empire is our Mandalorian's arch nemesis. I think there's someone else who's still, hired by the Empire to either track somebody down or do something with. So there's a lot of theories I can come up with about this mysterious character, but we'll do a whole
Crazy Tom's Corner.
Crazy Tom's Corner about that later.
I'm all into that. I think there is I love that they didn't address it, actually. I think teases like that are really nice. 'cause
I'm with you, but I just hope that they come back to it, because if they leave us with that forever, I'll be upset.
No, I think they'll come back to it.
Yeah.
At least it's on the back burner of them being like, well, we have this character, and we can bring this character back as well. I mean, if she was, shot an inch left of a vital organ, Bacta spray, whatever they have, she can be brought back.
Sure.
I mean,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
it's all it takes in Star Wars. I mean, we've seen people.
He could have stunned her, too. We don't know that he killed her, right?
I'm pretty sure he just shot her with like a regular blaster bolt, but again, it could
Right.
be. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
we have no idea.
Rewatch it. But there's a lot they can. I mean, we've seen people cut in half and come back in the Star Wars universe. I don't think it'll last
Thrown
forever.
down power
Yes.
shoots and
all kinds of stuff.
Right.
So.
Lots of stuff.
yeah, that I do have issue with that a little bit with how characters. There's no finality to anything. Like there's got to be consequences here, and I think that takes a lot of weight away.
They're going the way of Gotham. It's not nearly as bad, but
Gotham was ridiculous.
Gotham was the worst
I
culprit.
enjoyed the show just because it was DC and it was
Same.
Batman.
I love Gotham.
But I mean, I was
But
just
people
like,
just died
I was like,
again
oh,
and
you're
again.
back again.
Like, oh, the
Just
Joker's
stay
here
dead.
for the 6th time.
oh, they died, but not really. Yeah.
Oh, here's Mooney
I've been
again.
happier with cloning versus.
Yeah.
It was kind of unbelievable after like maybe the midway point of season 2 with that show. Because my theory with that was they never thought they were going to get renewed. So
Yeah.
they tried to work in as many characters as they could, and then they were like, oh,
we're back.
we're coming back, Fox.
Oh, bring him back.
Okay.
Lazarus Pit. Let's go.
Cameron Monaghan, you good again? All right, that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
But yeah, that would be interesting to see. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts.
I
on
want it to be either a rival or Boba, or maybe that rival is Boba. That would be really, really cool.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not
All
make
we
a Boba
saw,
Fett?
Yeah. All we saw were feet and like a cape that doesn't come all the way to the ground, and that looks.
And it's Tatooine, so obviously that's why our minds go to that being
I
Boba.
think Boba Fett would kick his ass, though, to be honest.
You think?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think so. I think Mandalorian would absolutely win that
I
fight.
don't know. Boba Fett was trained, I mean, I guess since he was a kid, and so was he. But I don't know. Something about. I think the level that a lot of the fans hold Boba Fett as, I think they would be upset to see Boba Fett get his ass kicked by this Mandalorian.
Boba Fett is the Knights of Ren of the original trilogy.
He may as well be the Phasma, because Phasma didn't do anything
Or
either.
Phasma.
Yeah.
That's also a good point. Well, I like Phasma better, actually. But
Yeah.
just kind of this cool character that everyone thought was a badass, and then kind of has this unceremonious
Well,
end.
his first appearance was what, the holiday?
Yeah.
Star Wars Holiday Special, and then literally they were just like, oh, he'd be a cool toy. People are going to buy this character.
Yep.
Let's throw him in. And they did. And then he took off, and fans were like, who's that guy? Like, oh,
Yeah.
let's make him a story. Let's give him books. Let's give him toys. Let's give him all this, comics now. Let's give him a couple lines, and just took off. So
We do owe a lot to
this show.
that character, really. And
Yeah.
because of that established the Mandalorian background and what is Mandalore and all this stuff. Bounty hunting in
Yeah.
Star Wars became a thing really with him. So there's a lot to it there. But I would go in terms of my favorite Mandalorians currently, it would be the Mando, Jango, Boba.
Yeah, but two of those aren't Mandalorians.
Maybe.
They're not.
That is a topic
They're
for another
not.
time, as Maz Kanata would say. Any wrapping thoughts here on season 1? Anything we want to see as we go into season 2?
I definitely want more of like the alien creatures. I really like seeing new either new species or existing species. Like I would love to see the Mandalorian fight off against a Rancor or
Oh, yeah.
some kind of creature like the ones that we saw in Geonosis, the Acolyte, for example. That would just be really cool to see those again, even on a smaller scale, or even as like a cameo of them walking by. I love, like in real life, I love animals in general. In movies, I love aliens and creatures and things they can do with it. I would probably prefer them to stay away from the space battles, just because what we saw was a little clunky, a little. I don't want to say forced, but we're like, okay, there's nothing happening here, nothing really to
There was
look at.
not a lot of money sunk into that.
Just shaky camera work to show the ship is being shot at. So,
Yeah.
my only complaint with the entire series is probably that.
That's
scene.
my only visual complaint,
Yeah.
I think, at all. And it's still pretty good. Just
Yeah, I mean,
for Star Wars, it's not.
Yeah.
Jamie.
What we're used to. At least.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, especially with the new trilogy stuff. Well, what do we want to see, or any final thoughts on season 1?
No, I just honestly I want to see what happens next. I'm excited for season 2. I think they led into it well. It wasn't like way too many cliffhangers. Got to have it right now. But like there are questions, and I would like answers. And I honestly just want to know what happens to Mando and Baby Yoda now, because I mean they're exactly where they were like episodes ago. They're just in the ship looking for a place to go where they'll both be safe.
I like it. I like that there's no kind of end in sight, because it's a series. It's this self-contained story as opposed to this galaxy-wide conflict. So I'm a big fan of that. I want to see more episodes, maybe a little bit longer runtime, but that is nitpicky, because if the quality is there and it makes sense to have a certain length of time, go with it. We've always said that too. Pavlak and I, like Endgame. perfect example. If it's going to be 3 hours, it's going to be 3 hours. Don't cut it short just because that's what you want to do. If it makes sense to have the content in there, do it. Lord of the Rings, another great example.
Yeah, make it an anthology.
If it's good, it's good. You don't need to cut it. The time really has very little to do with any of it. But I want to see more adventures, more planets. I am a big sucker for Star Wars nostalgia, so I love callbacks to anything that we've seen before. I love what we saw with like the super battle droids. There were some Clone Wars references, of course, meaning the series. I would love to see some tiebacks to Rebels. And I would love to see something with Sabine Wren. I feel like she is a prime candidate to be involved with this somehow. An older Sabine Wren, really not that much older, to be around would be awesome. She'd be like she was 15 years older.
Yeah, 'cause she was like 16 in Rebels, right?
She'd be perfect to like make a cameo or be a part of their crew for one episode, something like that.
So if she was Rebels was how long was this then? Was it 15 years?
Rebels is probably about 15 years. Yeah,
Rebels was
15 years.
before Rogue One.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know where she would be. She'd probably
In
be
her
like you
30s.
said, the 30s. I don't know if she'd have kids or not, but even to see like just some kind of reference or a call to her name would.
And
be,
maybe
would
the
be
saber
huge.
ties into all of that.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly excited to see where that arc takes us as we learn more of the background of where that was taken, probably during the, not the Siege of Mandalore. There's another term for it that happened after that. Speaking of Mandalore, we're going to see more of that in Star Wars The Clone Wars in just a few short months. If you've enjoyed We Have Spoken, we encourage you to stick around. We're going to have some similar coverage in a weekly discussion series on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud for The Clone Wars come February. So Dave Filoni just mentioned that is done. It's about ready to go. So we'll get a release date on that very shortly here. We just know it's February. I think that's it. So we'll put a bow on this episode and this season of We Have Spoken. For Jamie, for Tom, I'm Josiah. We thank you so much for watching and listening. We will catch you in just a few months for Clone Wars.